Welcome to the Movers and Shakers podcast, where real students are doing real deals in the world of multifamily real estate. I'm Vince Gethings, the owner of the Wheel Well Profits Academy. Listen in as we dive into the journeys of driven individuals who are turning their dreams into reality. These people are just like you, taking action and making things happen. If you enjoy the show, please like, subscribe, and if you're ready to take action, check us out at wheelwellprofits.com to learn more about our incredible community. Let's get started.
This is Movers and Shakers, where we interview the upcoming generation of make it happen multifamily investors to share their story.
Welcome to the Movers and Shakers podcast. My name is Gino Barbaro, co-founder of Jake and Gino, multifamily investor, educator, father, mentor, and I am joined by my co-host Joshua Ryan Rusin, the community director of Jake and Gino. Josh, how are you doing today?
Gino, making it happen, my man. I'm excited. We got Multifamily Mastery 4 coming up around the quarter, a big push to get that event together, and honestly excited to get everyone together. We're looking for a great turnout, great speaker lineup, and going to make things happen. Gino, what's going on in your world?
Josh, I am truly excited for today's guest. Do you know why, Josh? Do you know why?
Why? Tell me why. No, I don't know why.
I've learned over the years, you attract not what you want, but what you are. And this guest is the epitome of Jake and Gino. High level, make it happen. He makes a ton of work. Years ago, I wouldn't have been able to attract somebody or have somebody in my life come into my life with all those characteristics. So I'm excited to hear his story, to really dive into the deal that he's done and to see what the future has in store for him.
Yeah. Well, speaking of today's guest is John Stark. He's an experienced commercial real estate broker, helping his clients with the acquisition and disposition of industrial properties in North County, San Diego market. Before commercial brokerage, he spent some of his time in residential real estate, wholesaling houses to fix and flip investors for a nationwide firm. John has always had the passion, drive, and ambition to own and operate multifamily properties. And in May of 2020, he joined the Jake and Gino community to accelerate that journey and make it happen. After 11 months of joining, he and his business partner just closed on their first project together, a 28-unit apartment building in Phoenix, Arizona, in which John is both in the general partnership and limited partner side of the deal. Without further ado, welcome to the show, Mr. Stark.
Gentlemen, good morning. Thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here.
John, great to have you on. So listen, man, we got to hit on this. You're young. Tell everybody your age before we dive into things.
I'm 35. I wish I had got started younger, but there's plenty of time to make it up in this business.
All right, so let's back it up, right? From 35, closing on the first deal, there's a lot of people a lot later in life that said they wish they could start at your age. So honestly, I think you're in a good position. Let's back up when, kind of what your career was, when real estate got in the career, and then why you decided on owning apartment buildings.
Absolutely. So taking it back to when I was in college, I went to San Francisco State University and I was serving at high-end restaurants. And then after graduating and getting my business degree, I transitioned into management, which, I just got really complacent and stuck, but it was, living paycheck to paycheck and always had these goals and dreams of being a real estate investor. But, frankly, that's all it was. It was just a dream and I wasn't taking any action. I kind of just got trapped and compartmentalized into this. So about 5 years ago, I got introduced to a GM and broker of a local residential home buying firm here in San Diego, who also has like 12 or 15 offices nationwide. So they essentially wholesale houses. They would hate me if I use the word wholesale because they have a different business model where they actually fund and close on the property and then sell it to the end fix and flip investor, either simultaneously or 24 to 48 hours later. But it was a great job. I enjoyed it, making good money doing it. But I had a relationship with a private money lender who used to be a broker at Marcus & Millichap, and through lunches and happy hours, him and I just got to talking, and I told him that I always envisioned myself in commercial real estate, and the end goal was to own and operate apartments. And, that lunch kind of transitioned into 2 weeks later having an interview at Marcus & Millichap. And then back in August of 2017, I transitioned into commercial real estate brokerage for Marcus & Millichap, which was a great place to cut my teeth and learn the business. And then by, early 2019, I switched firms to the firm I'm at now, which is Voight Commercial Real Estate. It's a Southern California owned brokerage that encourages all their brokers to become owners of real estate. And most of the brokers in our firm are. So it's a complete culture shift from the Marcus and Millichat model. But again, it was a great place to learn and cut my teeth in the business. But I've been with this firm now for just over 2 years, and still focusing on mainly industrial product type. But like I said, I've always had the goal and dream to become a multifamily investor. And so listening to podcasts, 2 to 3 years, the typical analysis paralysis, I probably listened to every single Grant Cardone podcast out there, and just driving to appointment, like, how can I ever make that happen? And then that's how I came across you guys, actually, similar podcast that you may like under there. And then I listened to Jake and Gino, I believe early in about January of 2020. And then I reached out, talked to you, Josh and Dylan and I had some great conversations. And in May of 2020, I pulled the trigger. And so I'm super excited to be here. And it's turned out to be the best investment in myself that I've made to date.
Dude, that's huge. I got to extract some really key points out there. One, I love the practice what you preach model. Nothing gives more credibility than that. But for you, what I'm really curious of, okay, so you saw wholesaling at a high level, but you didn't build a wholesaling business. Why was multifamily the vehicle you wanted of all the different niches of real estate, especially seeing and experiencing quite a few of them?
I guess basically because so many of the investors that I worked with, even fix and flip investors, and before I even got into real estate, so many people that I had known in my personal circle that I had seen build and maintain wealth was through real estate and apartment investing. And it's something that has been around for over 100 years. I don't see people needing a place to live and renting a place to live going away in my lifetime, nor my children's lifetime or their children's lifetime. So it just seems, not that it's a simple thing by any means, but it's a recession resilient product type. Similar to industrial that I've seen on the commercial side, but I've always been fascinated and attracted to apartment buildings and the people that own them and how they got there. So it's something that I've always been interested in, but just never knew the vehicle and path to get there. And so now I feel like I'm finally chipping away at those steps to get there and make it happen.
So John, you'd mentioned analysis paralysis as one of your stuck points. What other problems or challenges were you experiencing before you joined Jake and Gino?
I would say the analysis paralysis kind of goes hand in hand with limiting beliefs. I know we talk about it a lot, and it's just, they're very challenging to overcome. I don't have the capital. I don't have the partnerships. I don't have the relationships. Sometimes even the knowledge you feel. It's crippling, and it slows a lot of people back. And I see it a lot, even with people that are already in real estate and brokerage. They just see it as a very transaction-based thing, and that you have to save up enough capital to buy your own deals. And I see people that are even successful commercial real estate brokers that never really make that leap just because they're, again, complacent or have limiting beliefs or stuck in the analysis paralysis.
Let's jump into some of those limiting beliefs. Give me a couple of your limiting beliefs, and maybe I'll share a couple of mine with you.
Originally, it was just, how do I do that? I don't have the capital. I don't have the relationships. How do you get in? Do you just feel like you're on a bubble, sitting in your car in the rain, driving from appointment to appointment, listening to every podcast and just letting it go in one ear and out the other, feeling like you comprehend it, but how do I actually take that next step, put my, one foot in front of the other and actually make it happen? How do you chip away at those goals? And how do you break into an industry that is so lucrative and so attractive to so many people, but it seemingly only the top 1% of people that are already rich and successful or got family money or, those limiting beliefs of how do they do it? How do I get in myself?
What did that frustration feel like as you're driving from that appointment, listening to the rain slamming on you? Well, it rarely rains in San Diego. The only weekend it rains is when Jake and Gino come out there to do an event. But other than that, tell me what that frustration feels like. Because a lot of us on the call, we have that frustration when we start out with. I had the fear and then I had the anger. I'm looking out there going, what's the solution? I'm really mad. How did that feel to you?
Terrible. It's frustrating. It's frustrating, agonizing when you see so many other people that are executing on this model and have what you want and have been achieving the goals that you know that you can, but you just don't really know how to get started. It really just feels like you're trapped in a bubble and you're from the outside looking in.
You use the word break in. How did you ultimately break in and do that first deal? What were the real big aha moments for like, I could not have done this unless I did this?
Well, I'm going to have to give props to both Jake and Gino and a fellow Jake and Gino student, Chad Sutton. So he was the one who introduced me to my now business partner just through the accountability pod, telling him that I'm focused on the Phoenix market. That, you know, one call just turned into, hey, you got to meet my friend Amani. He's killing it in Phoenix, young guy, hustling, already has a deal out there. You should meet him. I'll introduce you. So before we even got off the accountability pod call, he had already sent an email introducing us via email to each other. And him and I have been on the phone calling and texting every day since middle of November. And so it was that simple. And by meeting, again, just the power of networks and relationships and who you know. And so him and I met for a lunch again back in November, and we really hit it off. He already has a property in Phoenix. He has property management that he works with, contractors that he works with, really good boots on the ground and broker relationships. And so when I had met him, we just really hit it off, and we started looking at deals together, underwriting deals, putting out offers on things. And it's really the moment that really just made me realize it's possible. One, I guess, is going into escrow, and two is when we closed it. It's like, wow, I never thought we could do this. And being able to share the responsibility and accountability with someone else has just been extremely powerful to overcoming those limiting beliefs.
There's so many questions I really want to ask you, but one thing that really stuck out of my mind is the best investment I ever made myself. Can you expand upon that? Because most of us out there are saying it's an expense. I've got to pay for mentorship. I've got to pay for coaches. When did that light bulb go off? Because you, working out of college, working as a waiter in a high-end restaurant, would not be thinking like that 10 or 15 years ago. When did that change? Because that is everything. We wouldn't be talking about that here unless you saw yourself as an investment and making that decision to invest in myself. Because it's really important for everybody out there to hear, because it's called a paradigm shift or perception of how we see life. We see life not as it is, but as we are. All of a sudden, John sees education, mentorship, the relationships as an investment in itself. When did that happen in your life?
To me, I honestly knew how great of an investment it was by joining the community. And even prior to getting my first deal, I said it early on. I scheduled countless Zoom calls with as many members as I could early on. And a couple of months in, after going through the education, meeting as many people as possible, I already said this was the best investment I've ever made. Even if I don't do one deal through the term of this relationship, even though I know it's going to go on forever, it's already worth it, because the people that you meet and the people that are already doing what you want to do is just invaluable. And it's a whole new shift into a new era of thinking where so many people are trapped in this. People will spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on a formal education that they never use. I mean, I'm glad that I got my business degree, but it's an international business degree that I've never, ever used or had. No one's ever asked me about it in applying for jobs. It's just something that we do because our parents say that you're supposed to do it. And investing in yourself, in your education from people that are actually doing what you want to do, I think is an extreme fraction of the cost, and it's highly worth it. It's already paid off for me tenfold.
So John, another limiting belief that I had also is I can't buy real estate out of my market. You're in Southern California. Real estate is really expensive. Cap rates are really low. When you were approached with that, what did you think? And obviously you've done a deal out of market.
So it was a sort of tough choosing my market, I guess. However, because I'm a commercial broker, I have access to CoStar, and I was looking at markets for a cousin of mine who's considering investing into real estate. And so I have some family that live outside of Tucson, and I was looking at Phoenix as a market just from a transactional point, sending deals to a cousin of mine to help him evaluate and see if that's something he wanted to invest in, although he is not a real estate investor and was not very comfortable with it at first. So I was already looking at markets just, again, from that bubble looking in, not from the investor side, but from the transaction side. How can I get a commission? How can I represent someone else in the transaction? So Phoenix, just having some family outside of Tucson and what I had learned from the brokerage side, just preliminarily evaluating the market, was very attractive. I mean, rent growth, job growth, it's consistently been a huge hot market and a hard one to break into. However, once I had joined the Jake and Gino community and done some further research on it, all the KPIs, again, and all the market metrics really attracted me to it. And since I already had kind of a little bit of a high level overview of what's going on in the market, it's something I said, I'm just going to go all in. It's a quick hour flight, door to door from San Diego to Phoenix. Again, the partner that I met that I'm working with now is already an owner in the market and already has great relationships, boots on the ground. So it was a natural transition for me to focus and hone in on Phoenix specifically.
I love that. Let's talk about the deal. We know how you found it, through the partnerships, through the relationships. What attracted you to the deal? What did you like about the deal? And let's talk a little bit about that deal.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's, if you were to look up the comp, it looks like it's a 26 unit deal. However, there's a couple of asterisks. We're converting a gym back to a 2-bedroom, 2-bath unit and converting
home run, baby. I love that.
Right. And converting the gym back to a studio. So, and I love the unit mix and the unit size for the market. It's very unique and rare. They're 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 950 square feet units. The 6-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 2-bath that are 1,280 square feet. Everything in the market for 2 bedrooms is usually 700 to 800 square feet, 2-bed, 1-bath. So 1, we really like the unit mix. And 2, we really like the value add side of being able to convert 2 units back to units and add in unit washer dryers in all the units and do a high class A level renovation on the property to be able to drastically increase the rents.
Wow. So you did an amazing rent comp. He's doing a true value add. Now we're just raising rents, but he's actually adding 2 units. So if you do the math and you get let's say an additional $1,000, just throwing a number out there. So per month, it's $12,000 a year. Let's say at a 10 cap, it's $120,000 in value, but at a 5 cap, you're adding $240,000 in value for only $1,000 additional rent per month. Now, I know you're probably getting between $3,000 and $4,000 a month in rent additional from those units. So if you guys all do the math there, that is the ultimate value add. That is amazing. I want to know some of the challenges though, because raising the capital, going through the business plan, getting an escrow, supposed to be coming out to a money mixer, didn't make it to the Jake and Gino money mixer because it got pushed back. Talk about those challenges, because it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There are challenges, but you have a strong enough why. And with your why, you can overcome anything. So let's discuss some of those challenges on this deal.
Well, yeah. Well, I guess to start off, we got really favorable terms from the brokers that brought us the deal. It was an off-market transaction. My partner knows them just because, all the brokers in the market call consistently all of the owners. So again, my partner has another deal that he owns in Phoenix that he bought in December of 2019. So he's already an established owner in the market that people are already calling. So the brokers were able to push for favorable terms. We had a 108-day escrow, 51-day contingency period. So we had a lot of time to get it done and we were still scrambling. So it's a stressful process. But we were just able to, persist and persevere and nonstop. I mean, we were able to get 500,000 in the last week before we needed to close escrow, which talk about scrambling and, and trying to make it happen. But again, we didn't give up. We knew we were going to make it happen. And we really believe in the deal, in our business model. My partner has, like I said, another deal out there that he's executing the same strategy on. It's a heavy value add. I mean, we're budgeting 40 to 45,000 per unit. So we're drastically increasing the rents, which we feel is justified by the market. And again, my partner is already executing the same business plan on another deal. There's a little niche in between Class B and Class A that we're seeing that people aren't doing. They're doing a lot of lipstick on the pig renovation and just expecting to get a couple $100 a month extra in rent. And we're really taking it down to the studs and doing a high value add.
So let me ask you, how does it feel like building your dream now? You got a deal. That must be exciting, scary. You probably want to get up in the middle of the night sometimes and throw up. And give me your feelings on what's transpired over the last couple of months.
Yeah, I still I still, unfortunately, sometimes go back to my old ways of thinking. And you're not good enough. It's not that big. You only did one deal. And then you start to talk yourself down, where I'm definitely proud and I'm definitely excited, but I try to stay grounded. I'm really excited and proud of what I've accomplished and looking forward to the future. But sometimes you let old ways of thinking like justify it. Oh, well, you have a partner who's, pretty established there, but again, not to take away from any of the work, but it's still a constant daily challenge and struggle to overcome limiting beliefs, even when you're already crossing off things from your goals and your list.
So how do you overcome them?
I guess just staying focused and grinding it out every day, doing what you need to do one day at a time. I mean, it sounds pretty cliche, but that's how you do it.
Do you mind if I share you how I do it?
I'd love it.
Couple things. Number one, you have a kick-ass partner. That's the bottom line. I've got a great partner. I'm not letting him down. No matter how stupid I may look or how stupid I may sound, I'm going to try to do my best that I can for him. Number two, I've got a family. I have to do it for them. I can't let them down. Number three, the guy across the screen over there with the pink shirt, he's looking really sharp today. I can't let him down. So I have to do it for him. And number four, honestly, I'm going to go back to the Jake and Gino community. For over this last year of the pandemic, it's been a tough year for everybody. And I can say that I've had an amazing year because of the community, because of going out to these events, because of being surrounded by amazing people and saying, hey, I'm just like everybody else. We're all out there trying to make a buck. We're all committing to something and figuring it out. And that's a great feeling. I'm on the bus with Bill Ham one day. I think Bill's a super high level investor. He's a coach. He's done thousands of units, 400 units without, getting into any banks, real creative financing. And he just turns to me, he goes, you're doing something great here. I said, what do you mean? He goes, we're all committing and figuring it out. We're all winging it. I'm like, oh, thank God. Thank you, God, for sending him here and for giving him that message. That's what I want everyone to take from these podcasts. We're all out there just trying to figure out, we're winging it. And we all have limiting beliefs. We all have those gremlins in our head, those big things that we're saying, we're not good enough, we're not smart enough. That's why you need accountability. Those accountability pods are great, aren't they? You get on every month, you're held accountable. You're not letting your teammates down. You're not going to let your partner down. This is a team sport, everybody. You can't do it by yourself. Figure out what you love to do. If you're an introvert, get out of here singing. I was the ultimate introvert. I do 3 podcasts a week now. I'm on multiple YouTubes. I speak in front of audiences. So if you think that that's a limiting belief. Figure out what you need to do and get the help and invest in yourself, because I know that'll make it happen. So I'm sorry for going off on a tangent, but we all have those struggles, and just keep locked into the community. Keep calling your coaches. Keep thinking about providing value to your partner. Whenever he needs something, do as you say and say as you do. Show up for him. You have to not come to the money mixer. Don't come. I have to give that up because I've got something more important. That's really what it comes down to. So let me ask you, before we go to the short answers, what does the future hold for you? What are you looking to do with multifamily? You want to go into it full-time, transition full-time, or what does that look like?
Absolutely. Yes. I would love to transition into it full-time. I'm trying to be conservative and realistic on my goals and say within the next 2 to 3 years, but ideally if I can do it sooner, that would be great. I mean, I want 1,000 units as soon as possible. And my partner and I think we can do another deal by the end of this year. We're looking for something 50 units and up. We're trying to get two more deals done by the end of the year. But if we can close one more by the end of the year, that would be a big win. And I'm hoping to be at 200 units by the end of next year.
So John, my last question before we go to the short answers, if you had said this 2 or 3 years ago, would you have believed it? Within 2 to 3 years of joining community, saying, hey, I've got a goal of getting this and getting out of there, would you have thought that was possible?
Probably not. But again, like you said, to touch on your why, that's something that it insanely motivates me. I now have almost a 9-month-old baby. My wife, who is extremely happy and proud and believing in this now too. She's a makeup artist, but now I talk to her so much about cap rates and markets and deals. Like it's impressive how much she's learned and how excited she is. I mean, she went with me to notarize loan docs, and I've never seen her so excited too, to see that we're accomplishing our dream as a family. She's again, not really passionate about real estate, but she's insanely supportive. And that is just the backbone for me and my success and for our family.
That is awesome. Your wife does not lack motivation. She lacked clarity. Now she's clear. Right. She sees the picture. John Stark has painted her a beautiful picture of what financial freedom looks like. And it's like game on, man. Congratulations, bro. You got a lot quicker than my wife. My wife took a few years. to get the real estate bug. She still doesn't care, but she understands the whole model. But that is awesome, dude. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Let's take a quick time out to hear from our sponsors.
Gino, I know a lot of our listeners are wanting to take their multifamily investing business to the next level. I know that you've been hard at work helping Jake and Gino students do just that using our framework. Can you explain to the listeners how they can get our help?
Guys, we've been hard at work growing our community of like-minded investors, and the results of our members has been nothing short of incredible. We're looking to grow this amazing group. What we're looking for is those who want to follow our proprietary framework that we've created. Buy right, manage right, and finance right. Leverage our connections, education, and mentorship as ways to take your business to the next level.
So if you're interested in finding out more about how you can become a part of our amazing community, apply to work with us at jakeandgino.com/apply.
All right, Mr. Stark, I got some short answer questions here for you. So what's your favorite book you've ever read and why?
I would say timing is everything. There's a lot of favorite books of mine, but timing wise, I think my favorite one that pushed me into a model that I wasn't even sure that I would be interested in when joining Jake and Gino is Syndication. And I have to give a plug to Bruce Peterson. Syndicating is a bitch. Favorite book. I love it. I mean, besides wheelbarrow profits, of course, Gino, like it was something that timing wise just took me out of my comfort zone and realized, oh wait, there's another way that I can scale up too. And it's syndication. And he tells it as it is, raw, uncut truth, the goods and the bad. And yeah, so that was a really impactful book to making my transition into wanting to focus on syndication.
John, did you know syndication, the model, before you started investing in real estate, is one of those things you learned?
One of those things I learned because frankly, in the brokerage community, at least for a lot of the people that I knew at Marcus and Millichap, they tell you to stay away from calling owners that are syndicators. It's just, oh, they don't have the equity, and it's a nightmare to work with them on deals. So it was something that I knew of, but just didn't have the best regards as far as some of the brokers that I was working with. But again, that's the Marcus and Millichap community. So
gentlemen, I need to share this quote. I used it earlier today, but it's so powerful. It's from Mark Twain. It ain't what you don't know that's going to get you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so. And that's powerful because a lot of people don't understand syndication. It's a tool in the toolbox. And if John had said to himself, I don't want syndication, not going to work for me, you know what? We probably wouldn't be here talking right now. He probably wouldn't see the vision of 1,000 units. Learning that model, being open to it, being open to creative financing, being open to partnerships, being open to syndication. Check your systems belief, check your knowledge of what you think you know. And if you think you know something for sure and it ain't true, it's holding you back. So be out there, be open-minded, and get educated. And education times action equals results. So great job on not taking that limiting belief of not understanding syndication, diving into it, reading a great book by Bruce Peterson, Syndication is a Bitch. It is a great book on it because it tells the good, the bad, and the ugly on syndication, like every other model, and being educated and being able to be clear and take those next steps. So congrats on that, bro.
Thank you very much.
Love that. What about best habit for success?
I would say availability and responsiveness. Mm-hmm. So that's something I'm always on my phone. Sometimes I get in a little trouble for it, but being able to respond at 5 a.m. or 11 p.m. to your partner or an issue, or just shows your level of engagement and commitment to the process. So that's the first thing that comes to mind for me, is just always being available and your ability to respond and execute.
Man, that's huge. All right, guys, this has been an amazing episode. And one thing that really stood out to me is your network is your net worth. And I'll elaborate on that. If you look at John, he happened to find his partner through a connection. So being in that right community, who you surround yourself with is very important, because those are the people you're becoming, like those that you're around with. Gino, hit me with the summary.
So John Stark goes to, I think it's San Francisco State University, gets a degree in international business. And what is he doing? He's waiting tables at a high-end restaurant, and he's looking around and he's seeing all these people, and he's like, these people are all wealthy. What do they have in common? It's real estate for a lot of these people. He gets into the business, but he gets into a wholesaling potato, whatever it is, right? They buy into deals, they're flipping it, but I think he thinks in the back of his mind, it's his transaction, right? Transactions pay the bill, but equity makes you rich. And then he goes and he works for a couple of brokerage firms, and he sees it's the same mindset where these brokers are just getting these transactions until he finally lands at this position that he's at right now, which is pretty amazing because they're entrepreneurs. They're brokers, but they're entrepreneurs, and they want to have people owning real estate. The light bulb goes off. He's like, this is my opportunity. Let me start ramping up. Joins the Jake and Gino community a year ago. Within 12 months, a lot quicker than Jake and I. It took us 18 months to find our first deal. Within 12 months, has his first deal, funds it, crushes his limiting beliefs, and is continued to crush his limiting beliefs every day, continuing to get locked in, looking for his next deal. So for me, it's been a really amazing path from waiting tables to becoming a broker in the residential space to the commercial space, now becoming an owner and operator. And man, the sky's the limit for John Stark.
Thank you so much.
Love it. John,
go ahead, Josh.
How can the listeners get a hold of you, my man?
So best way is my Instagram. I just launched with is start.capital, or you can email me, john@startcap.com. Working on launching my website now, which will be startcap.com. And give me a call on my cell phone anytime, 858-525-2446. Text or call anytime. Don't be shy.
My man, I love it. Hey guys, and look, I would highly recommend connecting with John if you're looking at the Phoenix market or you're looking to invest in a deal. This guy is absolutely going places and one to watch. Now listen, I want to thank you, John, for being an amazing guest on the show and sharing your movers and shakers story. Now guys, like if you like the show, please leave us a review. And until next time, let's make it a movers and shakers week. See you, everybody.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, gentlemen.